don't know if many of you maybe already seen my past videos regarding taking my DNA test with 23andMe. I also transferred that information to my heritage to gather information about my background. It was determined, as I already knew, but I got numbers now. I am 51% European, Ashkenazi Jewish, and also 49% was African, which makes sense. My mom is Jamaican, my father is white. But what I probably didn't mention, I don't know if I did, I have to go back, this was years ago, I do not know my father. So that is one of the main reasons I took this test, to get some background, some medical history. Honestly, I didn't even know what type of white I was. So this was helpful. Every couple years I get a tingle of where I want to go look for the man who's supposed to be my father. I had a name, searched for this name several places on Google, Facebook, the normal private investigator. Ignore my dog, sorry. Normal private investigator, individual people that don't know how to do these things would look. Something, I don't remember why. I came across my timeline, I believe, about a group on Facebook called Search Squads. I don't know if that's the exact name, but they help you use your DNA to find your relative. So I went on there. They asked for my DNA information from 23andMe, but everybody recommended that I go ahead and use Ancestry.com to do my DNA test, because it's broadly used. More people are on there, so you'll have more connections. Because I had a lot of connections, but they were like third and fifth cousins on 23andMe. So my goal was to find a closer cousin that might have more information. So I did my ancestry test. It takes about 6 weeks because of COVID. It took about 3 months. And in the process of that, somebody from that group, they call them search angels, she's a DNA specialist, reached out to me and started putting together my family tree based on my 23andMe results. She was able to find what she thought to be my great grandparents or something like that. So great, right? But in order to get more details, we needed my Ancestry.com results to come in. So weeks go by, and eventually my results came in. So I opened them up like, not thinking anything, thinking I'm going to go some fourth or fifth cousins. It shows I have a close relative so my mom also took it, obviously, not obviously, but she also took it, and I was obviously related to her by 50%. So now with my new results, I have a close relative that I'm related to by 20%. And her name was not a name I was familiar with. It wasn't the last name that I was told my father had. I open her up and start to look into her family tree. Her brother has the same first name as my father. Not the same last name that I was told, but the same first name. So, okay. So I started to research, Google it. Turns out this person, her brother, had every match that my mom told me about. So, where he worked, where he lived, how old he would have been. Everything that I knew about my father matched this person besides their last name. Weird, right? Okay. So I keep going, and I eventually find a picture of this man. This man has died. He died in 2013. Boo-hoo. But I eventually find a picture of the man, and I send it over to my mom. It's like, could this possibly him? That was definitely him. She got back to me within seconds. Like, that's definitely him. You have his forehead. He looks just like you. And yes, I do look just like the man. There's no qualms about it. But the last name was different. So there's still a dilemma here, right? Last name. So I'm reading. He actually was a famous college basketball recruiter. So there was a lot of information about him using his real name. And in the process of this, I found out he was married. Yes, my father was married. I don't know the exact dates if he was married when he had me, but 3 years later, him and his wife had a child. So I can assume that he was either in a serious relationship or married at the time, and that is why he gave my mom the wrong last name in order so she would not know that he was, I guess, affluential. He was famous. He was in movies. I don't know if anybody. He wasn't actually in the movie, but he was referenced in the movie because he had passed before the movie. That Last Chance movie by, is it called Last Chance? 30 for 30, the Michael Jordan movie. He was referenced in that movie. He's referenced in a lot of articles in the New York Times, for honestly scandalous things that he did as a college recruiter when it comes to bribing people and things like that. So yeah, he wasn't an all around great person. So, I'm probably better off not knowing him, to be honest. But I kind of have a sense of closure now. I know who the man is. I know he is no longer around. He does have a living sister. I did reach out to her. She ignored me, which is fine. There's no reason for her to believe me anyway. Well, besides the DNA results. But yeah, that is my story, guys. Let me know if anything else similar has happened to you. I kind of just, Ancestry.com is where it's at. I did other DNA tests and nothing matched. And then eventually I just found my aunt and also found out my father is a liar. Oh, goody. But yeah, that was my story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have similar stories. We can bond on our parents being liars. Not parents, fathers being liars. I'll rephrase that. Alrighty, like and subscribe. Bye.